Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to Unit Lost. I am Stylosa, and now it is time to swap your hero. I am going to tell you how to do this, because this is the most critical thing in Overwatch. You swap your hero, you will win the game, but you need to know when to swap your hero. So I'm going to tell you what I do to work out when to swap my hero and what hero to swap into, because actually it's quite simple. Now, a little disclaimer, Overwatch is a very fluid and a very complex and dynamic game. I cannot tell you what hero to swap in at any given time. I'm going to give you some set examples in this guide, but what you need to do is ask yourself these questions and then react accordingly. A lot of this will come with experience as well as you get better at the game and you play the game more. But these are the 4 fundamental questions I always ask myself. So let's get into this. Number 1, do you need damage? Now this is easy to work out. If you're not killing the enemy team fast enough and team fights are lasting for quite a long time, then you probably need more damage. Most likely got too many tanks on your team. You've most likely got too many supports on your team. So what do you need to do? Well, you need to swap into a damage dealing class. Now, if you're not entirely comfortable, remember this is a basic guide, so I'm going to give basic hero examples. Think of this of if you're a Reinhardt player, but you know your team needs damage, then you need to swap into a damage dealing class. Well, the class I would tell you to swap into would be Soldier 76, because he almost works in every single situation, and he's fairly easy to play to a good standard. Also, think about this. Maybe the enemy team has got a Pharah, and the Pharah is absolutely wrecking your team. Play Widowmaker, Sniper out of the sky, or use Soldier 76. Both of those heroes directly counter Pharah. If you can fire at Pharah when she's in the air, you will kill her, and you will take her out, and it will negate any kind of effect she has on your team. Now, there might be the wombo combo of Pharah and Mercy, and I've seen this quite a lot, where they're going around and absolutely destroying enemy teams with Mercy's damage buff and Pharah just blowing them away. Well, to me, it's very easy to shut down. I'll just swap into Widowmaker and snipe Pharah. That's it, she's gone. Headshot, goodbye. It's shut down. Maybe Torbjorn's got his turret set up. Maybe Bastion's set up in his turret mode. You could use Pharah and peek around the corner and fire a couple of rockets in and take them out or force them to move. Or you could use Junkrat and shell wherever they are from above and blow them away. Again, those are examples of specific hero picks to counter specific enemy picks, but those only work in certain situations. One last thing I will leave you before we go on to the next question, or I'll leave you with, is if you're Tracer and you go around the corner and you're suddenly faced with Roadhog and he kills you, well, he will kill you in close quarters almost 100% of the time. Does that mean you should swap out of Tracer? No, it doesn't mean you should swap out of Tracer, because you might be doing okay and you're the only person who's going to know this, and it will come with experience. That is an example of just being unlucky. If Tracer's still effective, that's fine. You don't really want to go after Roadhog as Tracer, so carry on with Tracer and keep playing. Also, if your ultimate ability is available, then consider using that before you swap hero, because the ultimate may be an ultimate which could change the game. Maybe it's McCree's High Noon ultimate and he just suddenly kills everybody. It's called Deadeye, but I always call it High Noon. And he can just maybe gets a peach of a shot off and kills most of the enemy team and pushes them back. So do consider that before you swap. The second question I ask myself is, do you need support? Is the team taking too much damage and dying too fast? There may already be a support character on your team, but do not be afraid of rolling double support. You will be surprised how effective this can be. Lucio can be a really good choice here, especially for damage players looking to help support, or even tanks looking to help support. All you really need to do is drop into Lucio, turn on the heal song and stay in the team, and that's it. You will positively affect the team much better than playing that other hero you were just playing that was getting killed all the time, or maybe not adding to the team's overall support because your team's getting killed really quick. But now, because you're Lucio, you're supporting your team. It is a positive change. Mercy can also be a good pick. She can assist with single target healing and damage buffing. Although I will say this, Zenyatta and Symmetra, I'd consider them to be more advanced in playstyle, so unless you've played a lot of them, then I wouldn't really play those guys. If you know you need support, drop into Lucio or drop into Mercy. The third question I ask myself is, do you need to push? Can't get through that first choke point on Hollywood? Having trouble at the first Hanamura point? Well, heroes that absorb or negate damage are key for pushing through these areas. Maybe you should swap out of that Soldier 76 and start playing Reinhardt, because you can drop Reinhardt's barrier, walk forward, block all incoming damage, allowing your team to fire through the shield, because yes, you can fire through blue shields, and then you push forward into the point. Maybe you want to use D.Va and use the defense matrix to take out incoming projectiles as your team moves forward. Maybe you want to use Zarya, shield yourself, shield an ally, and move forward. You could even use Winston, drop his dome shield down on the choke, and then move forward. The worst thing you can do in this situation where there is a stalemate, where you cannot get into a point, is do nothing. If you stay on that DPS character, or you stay doing whatever the hell you're doing when it's clearly not working, when your team is not going through, then you're playing into the hands of the defense. They want you to stay there. They don't want you to move. They want to run down that timer and win the game. So remember, you should totally change your hero. And the last question I ask myself is, do you need to hold an area or defend an area? So let's think about the last point on King's Row. You need to stop the payload reaching its destination. Maybe your team has been completely steamrolled up until this point. It would be totally viable to swap into a Bastion. Quickly set up in a position the enemy won't expect, and they won't expect you to play Bastion because they will get used to the heroes that you're playing. Maybe you were playing Widowmaker and then suddenly you become Bastion. They won't expect this. You quickly set up and you hose the enemy team down. You absolutely butcher them. You kill all of them, and it gives your team a chance to push that payload back away from the final point. Maybe you could drop into a Torbjorn, place the turret down. Same kind of thing as Bastion. Let's say you're Soldier 76 now and you swap into Widowmaker and you snipe them as they come in. Again, they won't expect this. Maybe you could swap into a Roadhog, because Roadhog is amazing. He can sit on a payload and take a ton of damage. He can heal himself. He's really hard to get rid of. And again, that will contest the payload and help your team push it back. So the key thing to remember here is avoid making snap decisions on hero swapping. If you've just been killed, don't think to yourself, oh my god, I should change my hero. It may be an isolated situation. It may just be good play by the enemy team. Sometimes it's way more complicated than simply swapping heroes. Before you swap, try and look at the bigger picture and ask yourselves those 4 fundamental questions. Do you need damage? Do you need support? Do you need to push? Do you need to hold an area? Ladies and gentlemen, I've been Stylosa. If this video has helped you, then like the video, subscribe to the channel for more Overwatch content, and I'll catch you next time, people. Toodaloo.